local carriers, especially all those baby bells, when they want to get into another market, it has to get approval from the FCC. Okay. So, and there will be a checklist. The checklist is to check the competition situation in their own market. So if the FCC finds the local market is competitive enough, it will approve or allow that baby bell to enter into the so-called inter-data market, which means the long-distance market. But however, if the local competition situation is not ideal enough, is not competitive enough, the FCC may not approve that baby bell to enter into inter-data market. Okay. Okay, so after the enactment of 1996, as we can see, the act is enacted in 1996, and as we can see, compared to the situation in the European Union, the United States, they don't usually amend. They don't amend the laws very frequently, like what we have seen as in the European Union. Okay, so the last time is 1934, right? And then 1996, and we cannot expect the United States to enact another law to deal with the new issues, especially those issues brought by the new technology. Okay, so it will all be reliant on the delegation from the act to the regulator, which is the FCC. So after the enactment of 1996 Act, the FCC has to publish a lot of orders to help to enforce the law. Okay. So one of the most important issues that occurred here is because the fiber networks, the fiber technology is kind of surfaces after the 1996 Act entered into power. So are those new networks, those new technologies, under the obligation of offering and bundling access to competitors? And also, is there any difference to be laid between like enterprise market and the mass market? So in 2003, in year 2003, FCC published an order which is called Triennial Review Order, and it says unbundle of network element refer to the unbundling of copper loops and sub loops of narrow and broadband network in mass market. So basically, under this Triennial Review Order, the unbundling of networks means the unbundling of copper networks. It does not include the new fiber networks. Okay. So the reasons why FCC made this decision is because when FCC was considering whether the fiber networks should be subject to the unbundling obligation, its consideration is not because of the technology it used, but because of the situation in the market, or should put it this way. So at the time, the time in 2003, FCC thought, well, if the incumbent does not provide unbundled access to its competitors on its new fiber networks, will not damage the competitors' ability to compete. Right. Well, does that make sense? Okay. Because all those obligations that we just saw, the reason why the law, why the act impose all those obligations onto the incumbent, it was because if the incumbent does not provide all those access to its competitors, it will damage the ability of compete of all those competitors. But in the situation of new networks, like fiber networks, the FCC thought at that time, if the incumbent does not provide all those new networks to its competitor, it will not impair their ability to compete. It is because compared to all those compared to all those legacy networks, all those old networks, FCC thought the incumbent and its competitors are on the same ground. Okay, that means because in the past this kind of technology does not exist. So when there were only legacy networks and the incumbent owns them, that's why it has to open. But right now, it has fiber, and this is a new one. And the incumbent in the past did not have them. The competitors in the past did not have them. So when they are building the new networks, they are on the same ground. Okay, when they are, for example, if they want to buy the materials, buy the cost of by the raw material of fiber networks, or when they want to deploy all those networks, it's the same because the incumbent does not own them. It has to build, and the competitor also has to build. So at that time, FCC thought, okay, because they are on the same ground. So if the incumbent does not open this network to give another access to its company, it's okay. So that's the FCC's rationale in the triennial review order in 2003. And further, later in year 2005, in another order, it's called FCC Report and Order and Notice of Proposed Rulemaking in the matter of appropriate framework for broadband access to the internet over wireless facilities. It further specified that DSL technology, which means, okay, if we remember DSL technology, right? Oh, it was a long time ago. It was at a very early stage of our, yeah. So basically, the DSL technology is compared to the legacy networks. The big hole here may be fiber. And these local loops may be traditional copper, but they use some kind of DSL technology to to provide higher like a wider band services to the end user compared to the traditional networks. So DSL technology in this regard, it means fiber. Okay, DSL because in the United States, it is very difficult to build a fiber network all the way to the user's home. Fiber to the home. It's very difficult to build that, so that you only build to here and then to split it into that. Okay. So the broadband actually here, either the DSL technology, the fiber networks, the cable services. Okay, as we have discussed last time, the cable operators, if around that time they were able to provide, they were starting to provide triple play services, the internet, the voice, and internet voice and TV. Yeah. So in the regard of internet services, the DSL and cable services here under the reporting order here are to be defined as information services instead of traditional telecommunication services. And okay, as we have seen in some of our previous slides, under the structure of Communications Act of 1934, okay, if a carrier, if an operator is defined as an information service provider, it is in the Title 1 of the and all those like interconnection obligation, all those boundary networks obligations are here. Like okay. So if these like a fiber or a DSL technology or cable technology are defined as information services, they are not subject to the obligations of those unbundled or those interconnection obligations. Okay. So we are. So that's the rough picture of the Telecommunications Act of 1996. Okay. And we will still talk more about it just a few minutes later. But then we are going to take a look at in the regulatory framework, the other column of the regulatory framework, which is antitrust law. Well, as we have discussed in previous classes, okay, the antitrust law in the United States are basically constituted by two major acts, two legislatures. The first one is the Sherman Act in 1890 and the Clayton Act in 1924. And there are some other following acts, but those are not as important as these two. And among these two, maybe the Sherman Act is more important.